Going to Up Next Fighting. Let's talk about Up Next Fighting and how that came about. You know, I'm very proud. I've known you, like you're sharing with me. Like I've known you since you pretty much started fight promoting around that time. So it's really cool to see you go from Muay Thai to just all the other different things, even like some boxing, right?
Yeah, our shows used to be hybrid shows.
Hybrid shows, right?
Yeah, it would be boxing, Muay Thai, and MMA in a ring.
MMA
everything in
yeah.
one night.
Yeah. And then now, you know, MMA is kind of the
main.
Yeah, the main show, right?
Yeah.
Because of the popularity of UFC and
Yep.
the work that they've done, right?
Yeah.
So how did Up Next Fighting happen for you?
Up Next Fighting, we've been in business for about 2.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Chris and Ryan Buckner and the Buckner family, I've known them for a very long time. I think probably close to 10 years. And Chris used to come to all of Thor Skanky's fights. Thor was one of my guys. Yeah, Thor's. Me and Thor have a really good relationship where I kind of helped him turn a positive into his MMA career, where you know he was getting thrown to the wolves early in his career, and I was like, hey, yeah, you know, like I'm not gonna set up your fight, but you should be fighting, you know, people that are at a even
or good matchups, right?
Good matchups,
Matchups,
good even
right?
matchups,
the right matchups, yeah,
exactly. And you know, he was a crowd pleaser, of course. You know, if you're in business, you know, you got to do what's right for the fans, put up good fights, and also you gotta, you know, protect your guys that actually put asses in seats.
Yeah.
And Thor was one of those guys.
Yeah, he was.
You know, he was a very brash, cocky, but respectful fighter.
Yeah,
and I was like, you know what? We're gonna get you the right fights. You're not gonna walk over anybody, but you're gonna have a good opportunity to, you know, to be at an even playing field. And I told him, like, I'm not gonna give you gimmies, but I'm telling you, like, train your ass off. Train your ass off, because every single fight you gotta pretend, you gotta think in the back of your head that you're fighting the top UFC guy. I don't care if he's good, bad, you know, whatever. Just train hard. Don't think I'm going to give you easy fights. That's not going to happen. So train your ass off, become good, because, you know, like, yeah, you might get a couple of semi-favorable fights on. Back then it was called Lights Out at the Sportsman's Lodge or something. We didn't have the 3 letters yet. And I remember me and Steve were actually doing, like, Steve was like, what should we name it? I'm like, I don't know. We're at the Sportsman's Lodge. Let's call it Lights Out and Bash at the Sportsman's Lodge. I'm like, and I told her, I'm like, you know, like, train hard, you know, every single time.
And that was the epic, the times of the Sportsman's Lodge.
Yeah. So I told him, I'm like, you know, like, maybe like in a fight or two, when, you know, you get a couple of wins, what if Bellator or UFC comes calling? You know, if you're not training hard enough, you're gonna go and you're gonna choke over there. So I'm like, just bust your ass. You know, you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
So with Thor, we started doing that, and then Chris Buckner they were friends. So Chris used to come in, like, corner Thor, and, you know, we met a couple of times. Like, what's up? That's, you know, nothing formal. And then I believe, like, you know, a few years down, Chris's son wanted to try his hands at MMA, and Thor's like, hey, Chris's son JJ wants to fight. Let me introduce you. So we you know, officially, you know, became acquainted with the Buckner family, and I started, you know, promoting his son. You know, he started doing really good, and then I knew, like, they were always interested, especially, you know, Chris and Ryan and Kobe, who were always there front row, just kind of like, man, Georgie, what you doing is pretty cool. I'm like, yeah. So, you know, like, I started working with JJ. He was doing good. Then we kind of, and at that point now, Lights Out at the Sportsman's Lodge